The sports you love, the teams you can't live without.
Get a sense of urgency!
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Very much looking forward to our next guest, Ben. She is a basketball contributor for NBA.com and HHQ Sports. She's also a color analyst for NBA Future Now on the NBA app and NBA TV. She's our friend Krysten Peek. What's up, Krysten?
Hello. How are you guys?
We're doing well.
Can I just say, it's cold here in Vegas. There's snow.
Wow.
Here in Vegas. And now I'm like, why did I ever leave Utah? This is unbelievable.
Well, if you dealt with yesterday's snowstorm, you'll remember why you left Utah. It was pretty rough here.
Did you guys get snow finally?
Yeah, it was the first snowstorm of the year. We finally got it, but it was a reminder of what nature can do. Well, we get a lot of reminders. Let's start with the Darryn Peterson stuff because it is.
Oh God, okay, yeah.
It is one of the weirdest stories I've ever seen, Krysten. Like, I think, bar none, he plays 35 minutes a night or even 30 minutes a night and plays in 25 of the games this season. No question, number one overall draft pick this year. But he doesn't. I mean, he pulls himself out of games. He's only played 15 games so far this season. Can you give us some backstory on how this came to be? Has this been his reputation? What is his reputation otherwise outside of these injuries? Is he well liked? And then what do you think is going on? How's it going to affect him?
So I might be a DP. I might be a Darryn Peterson apologist. Like I'm a huge fan of him, and I was at Kansas during preseason. He was dealing with the cramping, and then he had the hamstring issue. And we saw Bill Self say a couple weeks ago, he's like, "Listen, he had cramping issues; those were legit. Then he had his hamstring injury. That's legit. Then he had the flu. That was legit. And so this is just like a string of bad luck. And it is very, very weird. And it's very unusual to see a player check themselves out of the game like we saw last night. I mean, he had 23 points in only 18 minutes. And Bill said, like, he was on his way to a big game. And that was very, very clear. But I will say this. I don't know any player, like if you have full body cramps and you can feel it coming on, nobody wants to be the player that like collapses on national television, right? So I don't discredit him for checking him out. Like it is a very, very weird situation. It is causing NBA teams to like give a little pause as him as like the bona fide number one overall. And we saw Stephen A. Smith go off today and say, there's no way any NBA team should ever draft him number one. Like that to me is a little just dramatic. But yeah, it is something that everybody is going to have to look into and really get to the source of why these cramping issues are happening. We saw Paolo go through it in his 1 year at Duke. He seemed to get a handle of it, halfway through the season. But I don't have any answers other than, they're just erring on the side of caution.
But you do you agree with that take, though, that he would be the number one guy if not for all of this?
I do. And I still think there is a strong argument to be made about still, even with, all I had to see was that one half of basketball against BYU. And I was like, oh no, he's him. Like if Darryn Peterson is like healthy, he is one of the best young players in the NBA, in a couple years. So, listen, this draft class is so crazy. It's so deep. It's so talented. So if you are the team picking number one and you want the safe, quote unquote, superstar, you go with AJ DeBonsa. If you want to take a swing on, somebody who has been compared to, I'm not even going to say it, but some of the best the best player that has ever played the game of basketball, then, you take a swing and you hope that these injuries, you just you figure it out. But you're right. Like it is causing pause for NBA front offices for sure. Just seeing how wildly, this entire season for Darryn Peterson has played out. And by the way, I've said this before. Kyrie Irving only played 11 games. He was the number one pick out of Duke. I know it was different circumstances, but this sort of situation, we've seen it before.
We are reaching the weird point in the college basketball season, really the draft season, where everyone's bored, so they're coming up with weird hot takes now, and I saw one guy the other day being like, I think A.J. DeBonsa should go sixth. It's like, no, he averages 30 points a game. That's not what happens with those players. But along those lines, are you getting a sense of malaise, a sense of people trying to drum up stories when it comes to somebody like A.J. DeBonsa, who some people may perceive as sliding a little bit in the draft?
Yeah, I don't understand that, and that's not going to happen. There's no way he's sliding. I mean, in a crazy world, like Caleb Wilson getting hurt was really unfortunate because he was having the time of his life playing for North Carolina and was like keeping receipts and like standing on it, right? But I don't think in any world a 6'9" shooting guard falls past 3 in this draft. And we haven't even talked about Cameron Boozer, and I know he's like the safe, quote-unquote, boring pick. Everyone calls him Kevin Love. Great. But the fact that he is 3 and he could be the college player of the year this year is crazy to me. So, like, that top tier between Darryn Peterson, A.J. DeBonsa, Cameron Boozer, and Caleb Wilson, I think in terms of solidifying themselves as, like, that is tier 1, that's that. And then tier 2, that's where it starts to get interesting. Keaton Wagler has been playing excellent, came out of nowhere at Illinois. Darius Acuff, 49 points last night, and I think arguably the game of the year. That Arkansas-Alabama game was insane. So the second tier is where it gets interesting. But those 4 players at the top, come on. Like, what? It's silly. What are we doing?
So Ben and I had this discussion yesterday, I think it was yesterday, about whether or not college basketball coaches get too much credit. Like John Calipari had this reputation forever of being like, oh, this dude puts guys in the NBA. Is that true, or did he just buy the best players in the country and they were going to the NBA regardless of if they played for John Calipari or Bill Self or insert college coach here? And I'm curious, as somebody that watches these guys through their full development and not just glimpses in college, do college coaches get too much credit?
I don't know if they get too much credit, but they definitely use it to their advantage in the recruiting process. So we see Jordan Smith Jr. is just committed to Arkansas. Of course, it was kind of a 2-man race between Duke and Arkansas. Once Duke took Darron Rippey Jr., I think that kind of pushed Jordan Smith Jr., the best two-way player in the class, to Arkansas. But it's something to be said as, like, now John Calipari can point to Darius Acuff and be like, Jordan, you can come in here and be Darius. You can come in and take his minutes. And we see it a lot. We see a lot with big-time coaches, with Duke. Arizona is really pushing hard. They're looking at Caleb Holt, and they're saying, listen, you can come in and be Braden Burries. And so I don't know if it's that, but they definitely use it to their advantage on the recruitment front because they can now point to different scenarios. And, like, listen, John Calipari is like, oh, the NBA draft, that's graduation. No, it's my graduation. I know more kids than you have, in your arsenal. So he's very, very good and has great marketing to those sort of things. But I don't know if it's they get too much credit for, because at high school, in the high school ranks, we already know these kids are going to be NBA players. Like, let's be real.
So the weird thing there is, some of these kids that we know are going to be NBA players don't consider schools, just simply won't consider 90% of schools out there because they aren't the NBA factory, even if they're going to go to the NBA regardless of where they go. And this gets interesting with BYU because BYU was the antithesis of an NBA factory. The guys who went to the NBA from BYU generally busted, and they were few and far between. Now you've got Yegor Dioman, who went in the top 10 and has had a very good rookie season. Obviously, AJ's going to be a top 2 or 3 pick like you're talking about now and is going to be a very good NBA player. They're in the running for Bruce Branch, who's a top 5 recruit next year. Do you think this is opening up for BYU as an NBA destination or a stop on the way to going to the NBA? Is that how they're going to be viewed?
Absolutely. Like what Kevin Young and his staff have done in a very, very short time, like running an NBA offense. And when you look at, by the way, I'm going to tell you this now because in the event that Bruce Branch III does go to BYU, his mom is very particular. It's Bruce Branch III. That's how he likes to be. And I've learned this the hard way. But, for Bruce getting on campus and like being a destination for these 5-star prospects that are going to be top 5 draft picks a year later, BYU is now a genuine destination. And the fact that KY and his staff and his brother Justin, who I've known for years, he's been in the trenches in the high school space. So just his connections and the way that he's able to maneuver around, like that is, it's huge. And it's become very, very clear in a very short time that, yes, BYU is a place for players that want to then be in the NBA.
Krysten Peek is with us. How much does, I guess, tournament play matter to NBA teams when making these decisions? And it's funny because you can think of examples on both sides. You know, Gordon Hayward, is the 9th pick in large part because of tourney runs. And then why do I always forget his name, Ben? Derek Williams from Arizona that was electric and then just didn't do anything. Is there a secret to that evaluation?
Walter Clayton Jr. last year played himself into the first round because of the run that he did with Florida. I mean, DeAndre Hunter and what he did. Like, of course, the tournament matters. And I think what it is, it's like this microscope of what these players can do under pressure. And if they can rise and play at a higher level, then that's very, it's very fitting for NBA teams. And we saw even with Stephon Castle, that Alabama game in the Final Four where they were like, okay, yeah, you're shooting 26% from three-point range. We're going to just let you shoot. And he was 4 for 6 from 3. So for him being, that confident and being able to knock down those shots in a high-pressure situation, of course it matters. But are they looking at the grand scheme of things? Yes. Like, it's not just this little finite moment in time where a GM is going to be like, we're drafting him because of this one game. Of course, they look at like the full scope of things, but there is something to be said about players that rise to the occasion and they play at the highest level.
If A.J. DeBonsa ends up being the number 1 overall pick in the draft, is it because of the team that wins the lottery, or is it because he's able to do X, Y, and Z before the lottery?
I think there's a lot to be said through like the pre-draft process. Like, I already have like my superlatives, internally of what I think teams' first impressions are going to be of these players. And AJ is very polished. He's going to interview very well. And, when you're looking at his landscape, especially this freshman year and what he's been able to do, even with Richie Saunders going down, which, by the way, what a heartbreak. Like, ACL injury. I still think he's going to be an NBA player, but what AJ is able to do, despite of that, and even last night, 35 points, but it's the game before that where he has 13 rebounds, and he's really just sort of showing himself as like more of a two-way player. I think that's really it's just going to be very, very interesting. I cannot wait for draft lottery night to see who gets the 1, 2, and 3 pick and which way they go.
How much do teams hold those kind of injuries against players nowadays? I mean, I'm old enough to remember where if you wrecked your knee the season before the draft, I mean, you fall out. I mean, they would, teams would stop looking at you. And now feels like where medicine is where it is, that it's much less a deterrent.
I think especially with NIL and the fact that like college basketball is getting older and older and it's thinning out the second round of the draft, even with Richie Saunders and like his ACL injury and his age, I think it's not going to matter because he works hard. He's a great teammate. Everybody loves playing with him, and he's a great shooter, 3-point shooter. And so when you're looking at the second round and the fact that it's probably going to be thinning out again because players are going to opt to return to school so they can get in a weaker draft next year and get that NIL money, I don't think it's going to hurt him one bit.
Let's say the Jazz don't win the lottery, which is the most likely outcome, but they do hold on to their pick, so they fall somewhere 6, 7, or 8. That's at least as of today the most likely outcome. Who's a guy in that range that you particularly like?
I love Keaton Wagler. I love that he doesn't even know how good he is yet. This is a 6'6" lead guard at Illinois. He was a top 150 recruit coming out of high school, totally overlooked. I mean, this is a player, he was going to go to Colorado State, and then Illinois snuck in last minute, and he's just been unbelievable. I spent 2 to 3 days at Illinois last week, and, he's got Tyrese Halliburton 2.0 written all over him. And so when you're looking at that 6 to 8 range, and tomorrow I'm going down to Houston, Arizona, so I'll go see Kingston Fleming. But yeah, there's a lot to like in that, 5 to 9 range. Elijah Arenas is playing really well right now. I don't know if he's really solidified himself in that lottery range, but the fact that he's come back from his knee injury, I saw him have the game winner against Penn State. So, again, this one-and-done talent class is ridiculous.
How are you feeling about the 2025 draft now that it's in the rearview mirror and we've got a pretty reasonable sample size on a lot of these players?
I'm no complaints. I think Cooper has exceeded my expectation. I think there was a lot of value in the second round that teams are getting. Caleb Love went undrafted, and now he's playing meaningful minutes off the bench in Portland. Con Knippel, I don't think anybody saw what he would be able to do in his first year, what he's doing for Charlotte. So I'm very pleasantly surprised. How are you guys feeling?
I think there's a real argument that 4 of the top 5 players, that player being Dylan Harper, which understandably everyone who's in front of him in that San Antonio roster, has outplayed expectations. I think Ace is better than people realized. He's not scoring the way people thought. He's a better basketball player than people realized. And VJ's been insane.
By the way, I'm not just saying this because this is you guys are KSL and it's like the Jazz, but I really, really like this core young group of Jazz players. And you're just missing that one piece. And, I know Jazz fans they're sick of it, but I'm telling you, after this draft, being able to see the just everything come together, I think is going to be super positive. But, and Ace, people didn't know he was a little bit of a wild card because nobody could get him in for a workout in pre-draft. And so for him to come in and be very, very surprising, I just saw him and Dylan Harper. We had him on the broadcast for the high school games over All-Star Weekend.
Last thing for me, Krysten, you see a lot of these guys make decisions about where to play college basketball, and you probably get a pretty good grasp on their mindset and what they value. I'm curious, could you possibly explain to me why anybody would choose to play for Mick Cronin?
No, it takes and listen, Mick is a very, very hard-nosed coach, and he's someone it takes a special player. I love this comment. They're like, "Oh, who are you going out to recruit?" And he's like, "I want to go to Europe, and I want to find a vodka drinking Serbian that gets in fights." He has no filter. Him and Kelvin Sampson. Anytime I have ever had the opportunity to be in one of their press conferences, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely not sending this one out. I have to go see what they're going to say because they literally have no filter. But, I don't know what's going on at UCLA. Mick is in his feelings this year. It's definitely
that's probably a very kind way to put it.
Speaking hormonal. Yeah.
Very kind way to put that.
Yeah.
She's not the best in the biz for nothing, I tell you what.
Yeah.
Krysten Peek, we are so lucky that you choose to come on our show. We appreciate it.
Always love coming on. Catch up soon, guys.
Thanks, Krysten.
I don't want someone else asking her, how could you possibly go on with those bozos? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How could anybody choose to play for Mick Cronin?
That would be tough. Why do you hang out with them?
Imagine looking at Mick and his antics and going, I got to play for that guy.
Got to go there. That's where I want my son to go.
Gotta play for that dude. All right, stay tuned. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up right around the corner, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody! Your home for the best sports coverage in Utah. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you about University of Utah Health. Hope is in our DNA. Learn more at uofuhealth.org. Man, the NBA could not start back up soon enough. Or the NHL, for that matter. Just something.
Yeah, the NBA being back tonight is a good thing. We are in a little bit of a lull with football being over. Did you get to watch the Super Bowl? I had this thought yesterday driving home.
I did.
Because you were traveling.
I was at Cocoa Beach in a hotel with a particularly bad seat at the hotel bar.
Okay. But you didn't get to watch the game.
Because we got to the hotel bar late because we were putting kids to bed and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So we were kind of in the back.
Oh, and you were on the East Coast. So it was kind of an evening. It was an evening event.
It was an evening event. So we got to creep closer as the game went on and people left. Yeah, I don't know what your take was after.
It was a horrible game.
Absolutely the worst game.
It's just a dreadful
game.
And
the fact that the Patriots made it to the Super Bowl should just tell you how unimpressive that actually is.
Especially the Broncos. Just what I was so right about how bad the Broncos were as a football team. Bo Nix. I blame him for the Patriots loss.
Bo Nix would have won the Super Bowl.
Bo Nix absolutely would not have won the Super Bowl, but he might have beaten the Patriots.
For a long time, I have said that the Rex Grossman Chicago Bears were the worst team to ever make the Super Bowl. I think we may have a new candidate.
That Patriots.
I think it might be that Patriots team.
Yeah.
You know, and go back to
one of the worst showings I've ever seen.
Go back to some of those Donks teams that got drubbed in the 80s and 90s. You know, those were some
Elway's teams.
Some pretty bad teams. But to see a team, do you remember that game Tanner Mangum played against, was it Michigan? Where he didn't get the ball past the 50-yard line the entire game? That was the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Correct. That was the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I wasn't even that impressed with the Seahawks, to be honest with you. It's like, I guess they're okay.
No, they won a game with field goals. They just said, let's get to the 30-yard line, and this game is wrapped. And they were right. Have
you seen that offense over there that they're rolling out onto the field? People were talking about Drake May as the MVP, huh?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was not great.
Yikes. How did that team get to the Super Bowl? Yeah,
the snowstorm was honestly a part of it. The fact that they ran into terrible weather twice, right? Didn't they beat the Texans with terrible, terrible weather in their first game? Maybe it was the second game of the playoffs in New England. And then, they went to Denver and also had absolutely horrendous weather with no Bo Nix.
So they were not tested in the slightest the entire season, pretty much.
Pretty fluky. A weirdly fluky run.
They did have the softest strength of schedule in the regular season, at least among playoff teams.
So bad. I mean, I thought the Seahawks were going to win. I didn't know we were going to watch the little Giants out there. I mean, that was just awful.
Did you get to change your opinion about Sam Darnold? Not to revisit an old story.
No, I kind of like it, though.
But we did not get a chance to talk about it.
No, listen, because the Patriots were so bad, Darnold still has that jet stink on him.
Yeah, and he didn't have a particularly impressive game. He won the game with field goals.
Right. Even though, it always drove me nuts that even though Peyton Manning beat that worthless Bears team for his only Super Bowl for a while, he got all the credit in the entire world. Now Sam Darnold beats another equally inept team, and we're still going to be like, but I watched him play for the Jets. That guy still stinks.
Yeah, you're right. Peyton Manning's 2 Super Bowls are not necessarily one was just a lousy team, and then one, he was not the reason they won the game.
Not even close.
He could barely move.
But we just bend over backwards to give Peyton Manning credit.
Yeah.
But Sam Darnold. No. Did you see that Patriots team he beat? God, that guy still stinks.
It is funny. We're not even 2 weeks away from it yet. And I've reset Sam Darnold to being like, he's got an argument as the 12th best quarterback. There's no praise for him. And if you were to start a franchise tomorrow, if you were to poll football fans, the majority would still say Drake May over Sam Darnold. Who just won the game.
Even though Drake May looked like a little league quarterback out there.
Yeah.
Granted, against a fine Seahawks defense.
Yeah.
But this is the
like
Super
Carson
Bowl.
Beck just chucking the ball up in the air, just guessing on his throws.
The Super Bowl.
Yeah, missing guys badly with pretty good weather. I guess it was cold. We talked to our boss, Tanya, who went to the game as part of NBC, but she said it got cold in the afternoon or evening. But, yeah, that was not weather dictating why he was playing so poorly. He just played outright bad.
He stinks.
It was tough.
No, at least, when the Bills got drubbed by Dallas. Remember when they really got just smoked by Dallas? I don't know if it was the second Super Bowl or whatever. The Don Beebe game where it was the only good thing you could say about the Bills that day was that Don Beebe didn't give up on one play. But that was because that Cowboys team was unbelievable. It was an awesome team. We didn't come away thinking that Bills team stunk. We just thought, wow, they ran into a steamroller, one of the best teams of all time. I thought Seattle was average at
I
best.
think they were good. That defense is legit, and they've got a good running back. Like, it was, I made the joke about
A
it
good
being
running
a great
back who was like fourth string.
Yeah.
It
was
3 weeks ago.
It was a Kyle Whittingham win. Great special teams, good running back, quarterback. Just go out there and be a quarterback. Whatever you don't have to do anything great. Just don't lose the game, and that's exactly what happened with Sam Darnold. Again, taking credit away every chance I get from Sam Darnold.
Well, I'm taking all the credit I've ever given to Mike Vrabel right away. That guy might be a bozo.
No,
The jury's still out.
no, Vrabel's
the
good.
jury's still out. That guy might be a bozo.
But you know what we are?
He should have tickled his way to more yards. That was one of the most inept
Game plans.
game plan, performance, uninspired team.
Do you know what we're steamrolling towards? Like, this is so inevitable and unavoidable. Is the Patriots paying Drake May huge money and the team around him falling apart?
Stinking.
Because they are the classic cheap quarterback who's okay getting to the Super Bowl. They are and we talked how fluky even their postseason run was, but yeah, cheap quarterback with several great players all around him. All the tools around him that can come
Joe
out there and make some
Flacco with
plays.
Baltimore.
Exactly right. And then, because he makes the Super Bowl, doesn't even win the Super Bowl, you say, well, we got to pay him. He made the Super Bowl.
Give him that money.
Give him all the money we can. Max him out. As much money as out there. What's the new standard for quarterbacks? We're giving him that plus $2 million. He's going to get that contract, and the Patriots are going to be stuck with him, and they're not going to be able to go anywhere. So this window for the Patriots is going to close nearly immediately.
Well, I'm not convinced that Vrabel's secret strategy wasn't to give his team NyQuil before the game. Guys,
we need you to get a good pregame nap. So 11 a.m.,
slug that NyQuil.
double dose of NyQuil. You're
And
going to
then-
sleep.
You're going to be ready.
We're going to wake you up in 30 minutes, and you're going to be ready to go.
Yeah, wake you up like my 4-year-old when the plane landed.
Everyone drags in.
Oh, dude, I don't know. I was so unimpressed with the Patriots.
It sounds like a fun way to
let me
watch
ask
the game,
you-
though. On vacation seems like a fun way to watch the game.
It wasn't bad, but I'll tell you what, I didn't get hardly any of the commentators. I didn't really get to focus on the commercials. I didn't get to watch. It was like the opposite of how the Super Bowl usually is. I got none of the peripheral stuff. Like I kind of heard / watched the Bad Bunny thing at halftime. I didn't even have enough to really digest that. So how was all of that stuff?
I thought Bad Bunny was a little tame for my preference.
A little tame?
Yeah, I thought he was a little Disney coded. I thought it was a little. And look, I fully recognize he was painted in a very difficult corner, right? Like, all the eyes were on him with the expectation that it was going to be so controversial that it was bound to fail. And I think as a reaction, he came out there and kept it. Now, it was still very political if you want to read into the history of Puerto Rico, but it was pretty easy to watch. I told Christian, I watched it with my 10-year-old nephew and my 60-year-old in-laws, and I don't think anyone should have felt like, I can't believe they put that on television. Like, we have seen far racier Super Bowl showings than what we saw, had performances, but I thought it was a little tame in that sense.
I thought it was from someone who just watched it, total missed opportunity.
To do what?
Well, see, the way I was watching it, I couldn't help but thinking, like, is the Super Bowl in Miami? But no, it was in San Francisco. And much like I thought one of the best recent halftimes was in L.A. with the death row stuff. I thought that was great. Have Bad Bunny doing like Jefferson Airplane.
Okay.
You know what
Big
I mean?
Pink. Yeah,
have
okay.
Bad Bunny doing like the Grateful Dead hits, like a cover of Touch of Grey. You know what I mean? One of the great music cities in this country. And I love a good crossover. I love a good cover. Have him cover all of that stuff.
When I watch Bad Bunny, I want to see his Jerry Garcia impression.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm getting at. Let him belt it out like Gracie Slick. You know what I mean?
Sure. Grace, but yeah. Do their friends
When
call
you
her
know
Gracie?
her one
When
as
you know
well
the
as I
way
do.
you do.
Her name is
Who calls her Gracie?
Her name is Gracie. And maybe top it off with with Journey.
Okay.
Another famously San Francisco band,
are
right?
they San Francisco people?
Well, he'd say when the lights go down in the city, that whole thing, it's all about
Okay.
San Francisco.
Okay.
I mean, it would be a wide array, but he's got to be a talented guy. Number one artist, he could probably do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he can do whatever he wants.
Like, make it fit the venue.
Sure.
That's all. Like, it would have worked in New Orleans, Miami, I think, kind of that.
Yeah.
but lean into San Francisco.
Sure.
That's all.
Yeah, you're right. It did not feel like a San Francisco specific halftime show.
And I guess what kind of feeling does Santa Clara have? I don't know. It's like a suburb. How could you do a suburb themed halftime show?
Yeah. Like just a Full House intro.
Oh, good.
Just do
See,
that.
now you're thinking.
Yeah, outside the box.
Now you're thinking.
Yeah, have Michelle Tanner, have the twins come out and make an appearance.
That was my only observation as somebody who got to watch it but not really listen to it, is I didn't think it fit San Francisco.
Okay, because Danny's dead. Danny Tanner's dead. Uncle Joey has cancer.
What are we doing?
Uncle Jesse is off the rails if you've watched him at all. I'm just trying to think of who we could get on stage.
We're making jokes
at the
about
Super Bowl
halftime shows
show.
and Ben goes right to death. They do it to me every time, man.
I'm trying to figure out who they can get out there.
We're making a joke about
Lori
it.
Laughlin's been to prison, right, for cheating to get her kids into USC.
Fine rowers.
Great on the rowing team. Yeah, that's just like not. It's just not like an all-star cast. The twins are out. Jodie Sweetin's had like a heroin addiction problem. Yeah, it's tough. That I don't think I realized how poorly the Full House crew has aged altogether as a unit.
We could probably find other shows based in San Francisco other than
Yeah, there are. Yeah,
Full
lots.
House. Yeah, Monk, for example. It's off the top of my
get
head.
What's his name from Monk?
Tony
to come out. Get
Shalhoub.
Tony Shalhoub to come out
Dude, that man is brilliant.
and host the halftime show. Well, he's funny.
That man is brilliant.
Really funny guy.
Yeah. So that was my Super Bowl experience 2 weeks ago.
Not enough Full House.
How are whoever was doing the volume at the bar had it just loud enough to be disruptive, but not loud enough to be able to be understood? Does that make any sense?
Annoying, but not
Like,
yeah. Not
wasn't
practical.
it Tirico who was calling the Super Bowl? It was just enough that I could identify it was Mike Tirico, and I'd have to yell just to talk to my wife, but not loud enough where I could actually understand what he was saying.
anything that was happening?
No.
So the worst of both worlds.
The worst of both worlds.
Nice.
Like, turn it down or turn it up. But what you got going on now isn't working for me.
Sure.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Whether it's the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, these guys have got you covered.
Time to eat, fellas.
You're locked on to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson
1, 2, 3, move it.
on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Two amigos on the airways, talking sports. They got it made, Jason on soul.
Hello, this is for Jake and Ben. This is Brett, one of your future podcast listeners, listening outside of the Chicago area daily. Big fan. Hey, the like that gig is cool and all, but Jake, do not repeat it. If you say like that, do not go like that again. You even did it with Scotty yesterday on Tuesday on his show. So please, the like that's cool, love the gig, but don't pause and repeat it like that. Thank you. Have a good day. Big fan. Bye-bye.
Stop Bears. Stop Bears. Like that?
Shout out to Brett in Chicago, one of our listeners from the future.
Podcast listener from Chicago in the future. But with the time change, he's like way in the future, right? Because they get everywhere 2 hours before we do.
Listen, Brett, I got
They
to
already
tell
know the outcome of this gold medal game between the women.
I got to tell you, the reason I repeat it, and I'm going to continue to, is because I'm begging Christian to play it.
Yep.
That's what happened on the Scotty G. It wasn't automatic. I got to beg him to play it.
The truth is, we are campaigning to get a second producer hired who's just the LT guy. He just plays the drop.
But like that guy.
Yeah, he's just there
Like that?
to eliminate that gap. The gap that Christian has from hearing it to looking over and finding it in the system. We just want one man or woman sitting at the button waiting to push it.
Ready to go.
Hard to justify the cost, but I think it's worth it. And it would Brett, it would take care of your problem there.
So shout out to Brett in the future. We hope everything's going all right in the future.
Yeah. Give me some insider trading, Brett, from the future.
But anyway, we appreciate anybody using the call-in feature on the KSL Sports app. We love to play them. We love to respond
That's
to
what
them.
it's for, man.
Thank you for doing it. And yeah, if you're a podcast listener, our listeners from the future, when you use the call-in, just say, this is for Jake and Ben. And that way the other bozos on the station don't use it.
When you were gone and we were at the height of Jazz tanking outrage, we had a whole segment which was just call-ins. It was like an
Awesome, really?
It was like an old school radio show.
Oh, I'm bummed I missed it.
A bunch of people calling in and having solutions and opinions. And honestly, we played 3 or 4 in a segment and responded to them. I remember it really took me back because I got in at the very end of call-in talk radio, and then it was all text line, and now it's all social media. I love the call-in feature, bringing that back. I really think it's fabulous.
Honestly, I think sports radio has missed it. That's just my opinion.
I
Other
totally
people
agree.
would tell you otherwise. And granted, then here's where I like the call-in feature, because some calls were the argument against it is that most callers aren't quote unquote good. No offense to radio callers out there, but sometimes it's not great air. A lot of hemming and hawing and taking a while to get to the point and all the things. The call-in gives us the option to drop it in where it's more useful, right?
Yes.
There's not a whole lot of wasted time and effort where we can plug it into the conversation. So anyway, I'm with you. The more we can do that, the better. So shout out to Brett.
Krysten, I don't think you were our producer at the time. I think it was Sarah. We've taken one live caller.
No, I was.
You were. It must have been really early. He swore within 3 sentences.
He said beat the brakes off of BYU, but he didn't say the brakes.
Yeah. And we had to drop him and cut him immediately. We took one call, and he failed. So there is a problem. We're 0 for 1. We have 1,000% failure rate. So that's a major issue. I love the call-in feature.
Can I tell you, on my sled home yesterday, I was disappointed that we did not talk about
You live uphill.
about my man. It was icy. We did not talk about my favorite story yesterday.
Okay.
So can I bring it up real quick?
Please.
And it doesn't warrant more than a few minutes. I think, other than I think of these things differently than other people do. Did you see that Major League Baseball Players Association fired their head, Tony Clark?
I did. The head of the Players Association.
The head of the Players Association. Now, the reasoning for his firing is that he was carrying on a love affair with his sister-in-law.
Yeah, we are speeding towards a Major League Baseball lockout, which I think probably could not come at a worse time. But, yes, the players said, well, we're firing because we're headed that way, and also he's, has a relationship with his sister-in-law.
So what I want to
It's
know...
one of the weirdest sentences I've read.
What I want to know is who leaked this story, because it would be a way better story if this is somebody on the owner's side sinking the head of the Players Association right before a work stoppage. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Rattle them. Have them bring in the reserve who is not going to know how to be a tough guy, not going to know how to battle.
Or has Tony made enemies inside of the Players Union, and this is somebody submarining him on the inside? I want to know, because I'm guessing he didn't start having an affair with his sister-in-law yesterday.
You're right.
So why is this hitting the news now, and who is putting this out there?
Yeah, it's funny. You could look at politically. It's like, people inside the right would never turn their back on Mitch McConnell for a long time because he was so good at what he did. And the same for Nancy Pelosi, was so good at what she did that you couldn't turn your back on them even if you didn't love them because you needed them on your team. Tony Clark may have been the same way. Really good at his job, a good representation for the Players Association. Why is he out right before the negotiation? Is it because he lost trust from his own team? Or did the other team say, we got to beat him, and the only way to do it is to out his sister-in-law?
Well, is to put the Players Association into complete disarray going into negotiations by taking out the head of the Players Union going into the final months before a work stoppage. I mean, that's either a really savvy move by the owners, or it's somebody on the inside who doesn't like Tony for whatever reason.
Can I present a third option? That's the worst option, but I have a feeling it might be the case. Do you remember the Stevan Smith situation?
Oh, a jilted lover?
The jilted husband of the woman who Stevan Smith was allegedly having an affair with. So if this was Tony Clark's brother, who's like, I'm gonna sink Tony here, and this is going to make him look bad. And really now everyone just wonders, like, who's the brother? Who's this
the brother-in-law?
guy
Yeah.
Who looks like the guy, who looks like the loser, actually, in this situation. The same way the husband of the woman that Stevan Smith was having an affair with was like, I'm going to out him on Twitter. And it's like, you look pathetic. I think there was a third option. There's a chance that this was Tony Clark's actual brother.
No, it's his brother-in-law. The women are sisters.
Oh, the women are sisters.
His wife
okay.
and the
Okay.
sister-in-law.
It's not
are
his brother's
sisters.
wife.
No,
it's his sister's.
No, it's his wife's sister.
His wife's sister.
His
Okay,
wife's
thank
sister's
you.
husband. So his
Thank you.
brother-in-law. Yeah.
His sister's wife would have thrown another wrinkle into this altogether. So yeah, okay, that makes a little more
His
sense.
wife's
Might,
sister.
might pull the third option out a little bit, but maybe it was the wife. Maybe it was Tony Clark's wife. Now, it was like with my sister. You crazy?
See, I got to think there's no way she's like the head of Major League Baseball Players Association is making millions of dollars a year.
Yes,
There's no
yeah.
way it's the wife. She's not jeopardizing that payday.
Right. She could just take him to the cleaners if she wanted to.
Uh-huh.
You know, but you don't do it yet. You wait
No,
until you
you
get to
wait.
the back end of
Right.
the negotiation, and then you get the big contract.
So that's what I want to know.
Huh.
But the story's so salacious, nobody thinks about that sort of thing. They're just like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Not who outed them.
Uh-huh.
They said it was an internal investigation that found it,
Uh-huh.
but
Who
yeah, who
released
released
that?
the investigation? Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a lot of internal investigations that
Yeah.
find a lot of things that never see the light of day. Be curious. Well, you know what we will be able to find out 6 months from now, a year from now, if we're locked out for a year and the owners are sitting pretty and just waiting for the players to come back to work, taking,
Yeah.
40 cents on the dollar,
We'll know who released
we'll
it.
know who released it.
All right. Stay tuned. Scotty G is coming up next, and very much looking forward to his friend today.
Yeah, co-host. Scotty and friends.
Well,
though,
Scotty
you're
and
right.
friends. His
Yeah.
friend, Ben.
Your friend and mine.
Kevin Graham. We're going to listen to OKG
Yeah.
back on the air in Salt Lake. Scotty G coming up next. So stay tuned for that. We'll talk to you tomorrow
Thanks,
on
Christian.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.